I'm in pain. So maybe if I do some comedy, it'll help with my endorphins. Snack. So I think about animals all the time. All the time. And I've been thinking a lot about how we view animals has changed a lot in the last 10, 20 years. Yesterday, I saw a video of an Arctic wolf in front of like a kindergarten class. Arctic wolves and Canadian wolves are the size of your couch. They're very large dogs. A Great Dane or bigger. Do you know what they eat? First off, the wolf, this lady, she was a taller lady and was wearing black, and the Arctic wolf was pure white, and he had on a collar and a leash. And he was in front of a kindergarten class. And, and she said, howl, and then the wolf will howl. So all the little kindergartners, woo, and then the howl, and then the wolf begins to woo. And then, the lady politely gives him a treat. This is an animal the size of a sofa. He just takes the treat, she pets him. And I was like, and my brain just kind of went, I think about animals all the time. Do you know, so Canadian wolves and Arctic wolves, huge, massive. The Canadian wolves are very rarely seen in the U.S. Any longer because they were hunted. And they, especially in Idaho, Montana. What you would see in America is like the plains forest wolf. They're brown. Usually have a black spot on their tail. They are much smaller. They would be a little bit bigger than a dog. Maybe Great Dane. But a Canadian and an Arctic wolf are giant. Huge. They're really big. So your regular wolves that you may see here in the U.S., do you know what they eat? First off, they eat deer, moose, rodents. They would definitely eat something the size of a kindergartner. An Arctic wolf or a Canadian wolf would eat an elk or a moose. And I'm sitting here thinking, and I could be wrong. I am not a zoologist. I am not an anthropologist. I have no degrees in mammalia sciences, especially in the Arctic. But I'm just sitting here thinking, what changed that dog, the lady has a leash on, to not think that those kindergartners are snacks? Just like a really good brunch opportunity right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Did since we all got cell phones, have things changed? Because when I was little, don't feed the animals, don't touch the animals, because the animals will be rejected by its family and mother because of the sin. Do you remember those rules? The signs that you see in national parks? Don't pet the bears, don't feed the bears, don't pet the animals, don't feed the animals, don't take the animals. Have you seen those signs? But now we all have cell phones. And I'm wondering if we are making the animals evolve or if we're just dumb. And I'm going to give some space, because a lot of the animals I'm sure you do see were maybe at risk. I want to believe that maybe that Arctic wolf was sick and abandoned, and a lot of these wolves we see on YouTube feeds and on that they were abandoned and can't live on their own. They're not just giant pets, that there's a reason, but I kind of wonder, since we've gotten cell phones, are we teaching animals to evolve to not be predators? To rely on us to give them food and shelter? I'm gonna keep going with this. So I just don't know, because there's a lot of animals you're seeing on YouTube and on Instagram that would eat your child. But why do they not eat your child? And are there any stories of them eating children? Another story. So if we were to act inherently by our ancestry, who we are distinctively, wouldn't that be very interesting? Because there's so much marketing these days towards the ancient grains, the Mediterranean diet, going back. So if I was to go back to my innate self, just like the Arctic wolf, the true initial, who my ancestors are. My Lakota, Sioux, Cheyenne, they'd be, first, we may see some white people and be very kind and be like, hi, nice to meet you, here's some food, leave us alone. And then they might pour some hot boiling water on us at some point, because, they broke our boundaries, they broke my boundaries. 100 years ago, or maybe 150, 200 years ago, I'd say, no, stop. That's bothering me. Stop. You're stealing and ruining my life and family. Stop. And they, throw some guns at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to scalp you now. I'd still be alive, just no hair. That's my, ancestral self, right? And they're like, no, we're going to keep ruining your life and stealing your ways, your land, hurt your kids. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to take a bow and arrow through you. What has changed us from 200 years, and what has changed animals from 200 years? My Aztec self would be like, oh, hey, hi, please leave me alone. Here's some food and gifts, Please stop bothering me. Please stop bothering me. Please stop. Quit trying to ruin my life. Quit trying to boil and destroy my relics. Wait, we may have to offer you to the gods. Keep going. My Jamaican self probably would have been a slave, and someone else would be telling me what to do, and I'd probably be pissed off. That's my ancestry. My British, royal ancestry, maybe I'd be like, hey, you listen to me, you bow down. I am royalty. I have arrived. Who knows? Maybe you're a Viking. Maybe your ancestor royalty, maybe your ancestors are Vikings, Maybe one day this month you just Granny died. I really want to honor Granny. Let's make a pyre of wood and put Granny on it and set her on fire and send her out into the Baltic Sea. Isn't it interesting that we just don't revert back? And I'm wondering if we're reverting animals forward. Just because some of the stuff I see, I'm like, can you really have those wild animals? Are you really doing them a favor? And I worry about wild animals all the time, and if they have enough food, and do they have enough stuff going on. But I'm like, what if humans just reverted back, or had a moment? They're like, oh, I'm gonna become a Viking, and my granny was amazing. I want to honor her by putting her on a pyre of wood and burning her on the lake. I mean, think how much we've changed. Really, how much we've changed and how much we've not changed. And then, how are animals changing? Should they change? This probably isn't very funny to anybody. Well, it all starts usually, this is my boundary. Probably for animals too. This is my boundary. Please don't push it. This is my boundary. This is my boundary, for indigenous people, it's been like, this is my boundary. Here's a nice gift. Good to see you. The eagle has landed, please leave us alone. If you need a little help, yeah. But why you want to, like, rape and pillage us? I wonder, because I always worry about people that are, like, on that spectrum of minorities and indigenous, I worry about animals too. And now when I see animals on, like, feeds and, like, I'm just like, what makes that animal behave differently than its inherent ancestral self? I don't know. That's something to think about. What am I being held back? Because I'm behind the glass. Like an animal in the zoo. Like, what would my, like, natural self, inherited self, been like if there were no chains on me? Are we denying ourselves things? Probably. I don't know, but my new goal is to grow my hair very long. Somehow still be masculine with long hair. And stay here forever. Just forever. And ever and ever and ever. Till I get all my shit back. And hopefully all indigenous people shit back too. And you can call me Sitting Bull for sure. For sure. Because I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit here and grow my hair very long and be very proud to be a Native American. And you'll be grateful that I don't slip back into my ancestral roots. Kidding. I love you.